Hello all, I hope you're all doing well. We are continuing with our weekly portion review, and this week we are in the portion of Beshalach, when Pharaoh finally sent the Israelites out of Egypt. However, in this portion, he changes his mind, right? And he decides to chase the Israelites, as we know, to the Sea of Reeds. We have the famous splitting of the sea. The Israelites also experience aside from that miracle, they also have their experience with the manna bread. There's Moses striking the rock. We have them receiving their clean water. And we also have our introduction with the Amalekites that attack us. And of course, the Israelites end up being victorious. So while we could dive into the splitting of the sea and the manna we spoke about a little last year, today I wanted to touch a little on this idea of the Amalekites. And we are told in verse 17:12 in Exodus, "But Moses' hands grew heavy. So they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. While Aaron and Hur, one on each side, supported his hands. Thus his hands remained steady until the sun set." Right? So this is in the famous battle is happening, and Aaron and Hur come and support Moses' hands, right? While the hands are up in the air, the Israelites are successful, and while his hands come down, they start to lose. Now, this really detailed description of how Moses is really standing there during this battle hints to a message for future generations. And the faith that Moses really represents spreads throughout the whole world through beliefs that stand alongside the Torah of Moses. They're standing side by side. And one is represented by Hur, who sacrifices himself for the belief in God's oneness, right? We could look at this as Islam, that are very, very extreme with their take on the interpretation of monotheism. And on the other hand, we have Aaron, who is the lover and pursuer of peace, and even to the extent of making the golden calf to save the people. We spoke about this in maybe last year, but this could potentially be seen as Christianity, right? Which they are creating this out of love through this religion of love and of grace, end up potentially going down a road that is a little more problematic. Now, these religions operate until the sun set, meaning until the days of Messiah, when all the nations ultimately will return to the true faith. This is what, of course, Maimonides talks about, which we mentioned many times in the Laws of Kings. Now, this event is recorded in the Torah between two great foundational moments, right? We have that ultimately shape the collective of the identity of the Jewish people. We have the splitting of the sea, and we have the giving of the Torah. And between these two elements, we have this battle with the Amalekites. And potentially this teaches us that the universal influence of the Jewish people stands at the core of the nation's very existence, and it's not a secondary aspect. Now, the continuation of the verse of, "And through you all families of the earth shall be blessed," right? The verse that God blesses Abraham is the fundamental message ultimately that's realized through the Exodus and the giving of the Torah, right? That these people that I promised Abraham, that the promise I made Abraham is realized through these historic events. And we learn from this event that as long as the Amalekites exist in the world, there's a doubt. Our sages has told us that in the gematria, in the numeral equation, Amalek also means doubt. And this means that when they're around, doubt still dominates, and there could be no absolute clarification about the truth. So instead, we look at this, and we look at the verse saying, "His hands remain steady in faith." The Torah of Moses testifies to the true belief in the form of faith, right? Until the day when the truth will emerge from its current concealment that we're all living in, and everyone will ultimately see together that God has spoken truth to Moses. And we have to realize that the support and loving embrace that we get from our Christian brothers, and hopefully we'll receive more from our Muslim brothers, ultimately allows us to sanctify God's name, and slowly but surely we could come closer together to a house of prayer for all nations under the one true faith. Shabbat Shalom, and take care.